Okay, for this one, I wrote number 7, and as we can see, they're kind of written out different. So for this first one, it already gives you what x is. So this would be really easy for us to do a completely substitution because we already figured out what x is, so we could just plug this whole thing for that. But since it's elimination, we have to find a way to eliminate. And as you can see, we already have 2 3s, but wait. The x is on this side of the equal sign without the y, so x and y are on 2 different sides, and on this one, x and y are on the same side. And I don't remember if we're supposed to put them on the same side, but I'm just gonna put them on the same side to be sure. So what I think would be the easiest solution here is to match them. So instead of rearranging everything, I'm just gonna put y on the other side so that it matches this one where it's x on one side by itself and then y and then the random just number by itself. Okay, so in order to put y on the other side, we have to add oh no, the markers have to add, oh no, 3y plus, and then plus 3y on the other side, and we're just gonna exclude the top one, so we're just focusing on this right now. It would be 2x, this would cancel out, equals, oh no, sorry, cheap whiteboard, equals, and then 16 plus 3y, because this cancels out, but since the y is first, I'm just going to put 3y plus 16. And that's we rearranged it. Okay, so as you can see, this equation is saying the same thing as this one. They're just written a little different, but they still mean the same thing. So in order for you not to get confused, I'm just gonna erase this. And if you get confused as to what I did to get to here, just go back on the video. So now we have, oh, here, let me change the white to purple color so it's easier for you to see. All right, so now we have 3 y's and 3 y's. But wait a minute. If we add them, it would be 3y plus 3y. That would be 6y. That would not eliminate each other. So we have to multiply either this one or this one by a -1 so that one of them has a negative sign and they can cancel out when you add them. So basically what I'm saying is we have to make one of them minus 3y, so then it can be minus 3y plus 3y equals 0, and that's how we eliminate it. Okay, now we have to decide which one we want to multiply by -1. And I feel like it would be easy to convert all of these, so I'm gonna put these ones. I'll erase this. This is just number 7, -1, and then parentheses that whole thing, proper math notation. So we can rewrite this top one as -x equals -3y minus 11, because if we're doing times -1, or I don't know if your teacher told you to just multiply by negative, -1 times x equals -1x, which is fine. -x and -1x are the same thing. And you would do, I think it's called distributive property, where you go to all of them. And since it has a negative, all the signs would change. So this used to be normal positive, +3, +11. Now they're all negative. And now we can add both of these equations. I don't know if it would make it easier for me to write this down here. It won't change anything. It'll just make it easier to like see, because right now it would be -1 plus 2x, but instead we can just be like 2x plus -1, which is basically just 2x minus 1x, because it's plus, so you just combine them. Okay, so off camera I rewrote that top equation that we simplified or multiplied back into this. So far we did 1, which was find out if the variables are on the same side, and we added the y to the other side to make them look the same, so that way y and the coefficient are on the same side, and then on the other side of the equal signs was all the x's. So rearrange to look similar, or look same, the same. And then the second thing we did was figure out if any variables had the same coefficients. So it was 2x and 1x at the beginning, and you would have to multiply it by not just a negative, and that would be a little more complicated. But oh look, the coefficients for the y's are both 3's, so we were like, okay, we're gonna choose to eliminate y because they already have the same coefficients. So choose what variable to eliminate. Eliminate based on coefficients. So look at the coefficient, and then the third thing we did was to make sure that the signs were opposite on the two equations. So opposite sign question mark. You have to ask yourself that. That looks like a D. Opposite sign. If no, multiply. One equation, the EX, and if you try to sound that out, it sounds like equation, which sounds like equation. It's shorthand for equation. So if they don't have opposite signs, you multiply one of the equations by negative or positive. It just depends, and you'll figure that out. If they do have opposite signs, then you keep going and you eliminate. So 4 would be eliminate. Ooh, I think I did a little extra. Eliminate. Okay, and so here, as you can see, we can eliminate y, because 3y plus -3y would just equal 0, so we can get rid of that. Why are my markers so dry? And then you would simplify this, which would be +1 x equals, and I assume you know how to do simple algebra. This would just be like 2 minus 1x, so it would be +1x. And then 16 minus 11 would be +5. And then what do you multiply 1 to get 5? 5, so it would equal 5. I think I could have done something wrong. I'm not sure. Okay, so we've simplified these two equations into this one, and we've solved for x. So after we eliminated, we solved for the other variable. So solve. Okay, now we have x, we know that x equals 5, and we can go back and plug it in. So 6 would be plug in value to OG equation. So we can come back, and I think this bottom one would be way easier. So negative 1x, or not x, 5 times 5 equals negative 3y minus 11. Sorry, I don't have bad camera angles. Okay. I changed the white to purple so you can distinguish the difference. So we would simplify this to negative 5 equals negative 3y minus 11. Ay, sirven los markers. Alright, and it would be easier to just move this to the other side to try to isolate y. So I'm going to add 11 to both sides. And that would be, let's see, 6, because positive 11 plus negative 5, basically like 11 minus 5, which would be 6. And then this would cancel out, minus 3, or negative 3y. And then you would divide both sides by negative 3. You got to remember about the sign in front of it, which would cancel out negative 3. And 6 divided by negative 3 equals 2 equals, and then we've already canceled that out, so y equals, oh shoot, negative 2. Because remember, this negative sign, when you divide by a negative, you get a negative. Yeah, if it's a positive. You already know, that's basic algebra. Okay, so let's see. We rearranged, okay. We rearranged the equations so that they look the same. Well, not both of them, just one of them, to match each other so we don't get confused as much. I think you could honestly skip that step if you think you won't get as confused anymore. But if you're getting a little more confused right now, maybe later on when you're more comfortable with seeing equations that aren't in the same format, maybe you can try solving like that. But that usually takes a while. Yeah, we rearranged it, and then we were like, okay, let's see, do any of the variables have coefficients that are the same value? So we said, yeah, the y's both have 3's in front of them. We were like, okay, are they opposite signs? And no, they weren't opposite signs technically. As you recall, at the beginning, they were both positive 3y. And then you had to think, okay, well, if we're going to be adding these two, so like down here, if we're going to be adding those two, then one of them has to be negative. But wait, if we want it to be negative, we have to multiply it by negative 1. But we can't just do that to just the negative, to the y. We have to do it to the whole equation, right? So we multiplied the whole equation by negative 1, and then we got this. And then we were like, okay, let's put them together. So then we solve, okay, so yeah, we multiplied one equation by a negative or a positive, depending on your equation. Okay, and then we were like, okay, we can add the equations together now to eliminate. We were like, okay, we can eliminate y now. And then we solve for x. Okay, we know what x is now. We can go back, use our value for x to figure out and then solve for y, which we did. So we plugged in value to the equation, which we did down here, plugged in 5 for x, and then we started solving for y. Yeah, solve for the other variable. Sorry. And then if you really want to, you can go back and check your work by plugging both y and x at the same time to one of the equations. So you can go back and plug 5 here, and then negative 2 for y. And then you can see if it actually equals, if the equation actually is true.